Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm actually taking a look at something a little bit different. This is a game that is currently early access, and I actually bought into early access on this in 2014. And now normally a game goes in early access that long, it raises a lot of red flags. You know, me personally, I backed DayZ at the time too, a little bit before that, and DayZ standalone, and well, we see how that went. But this game I've actually got, I don't know, 1,500 hours in. Like this is a big time sink for me, and I play it, even now I play it quite a bit. Not as much as I used to. But it's called GearCity, and it's a car manufacturing development game. It's more of a financial sim. And that might sound really boring, and it kind of probably is, but cars are something I'm passionate about. I love cars. And so this game touched a very specific niche for me, and the developer for the game is super active. Like, after all these years, you know, he created the engine, he put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it, and he's still working on it. And it's almost finished. It's pretty much in its final stages of development, from what I understand. But I'm starting a new save game here real quick. I'm not going to play through a whole lot because the game gets pretty repetitive. And graphically, it looks super simple. It looks very cheesy. Like, you know, I'm going to go to Detroit and I'm going to create a name and a name for my company and a logo. And we're going to call it Good Shot Gaming because whatever awful thing I just had there was terrible. And my name will be Good Shot. And we're going to go with 300 AI companies. I have a mod on right now for real vehicle companies. The game doesn't actually come with that. And I won't actually show you any of the other companies. I might. We'll see. Anyway, so you start off here in your little office, and this looks super crappy and, you know, like very indie game. And it is, but the game itself, the core mechanics of the game, it's very in-depth. So like you go around the office here and you have a radio to change the music, which I have none on because I really normally listen to my own music when I play this. The clock ends a turn, and so it is turn-based. You can see down here we're January of 1970, just when I decided to start it. You can start anywhere between 1900 and 2020, I believe. This door here goes to research, development, race teams, and the showroom, a few other options. You'll be in here a lot. This is just the menu, the filing cabinets. Over here, we have GearCity Monthly, which is a book where you can go through and it'll actually say, you know, what cars are winning the challenge for the week for the Netherlands, in this case. And it's Jeremy Hammond. Little play on top here there. There's manufacturing news, so whenever manufacturer develops a new transmission, new engine, new chassis, that all kind of pops up here. I've never really used this tab because it's just overwhelming with information. Just fine. Aero Mogul, sort of mock advertisement coming, but that's actually a game that he said he's going to work on next. It'll be a aircraft builder, I believe. Superlatives are exactly what they sound like. This shows the physical, engine, and performance characteristics of the, you know, the highest and the best, you know, in each category. And then awards. Every year, awards get handed out for the GCM awards, Gear City Monthly awards. And so, you know, you built a car right when it starts showing up in the GCM awards. Next to that is this file thing here, and that's just your memos, any kind of important notes that pop up. The telephone is human resources, lobbyists, and contracts. And each one of these, like, you can negotiate benefits, wages, things like that. Lobbyist, you can send money off to your lobbyist in order to get deals in building factories and branches. And then contracts, every year or every month, more contracts usually show up, and you can bid to have You know, SUVs bought by the United Kingdom's army. These are all Army, Navy, military contracts, but civilian taxi and like civilian contracts show up there as well. Globe just shows you the globe, and here you have districts, and you can set up where you want to build factories and where your branches are going to be built out of, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty neat. Here is they call it the Super Ultra All-in-One Mega Menu Controller, and so there you can control your factories, your branches, your marketing, because you need to set up marketing budgets to market your vehicles. Auto commands just kind of help you auto do things, and assign contracts. If I had like won a contract, I could assign it to a factory to be manufactured. GearCity News is just a newspaper, and like wars and economic downturns show up here. And if there are wars, like your factories can be taken over by the government, and you can only build like things for the war effort. Bank loaning, you have interest rates, and you can get a line of credit, that kind of thing. I did kind of cheat and gave myself a ton of money. You can work with a stock market in game, and I actually don't have real brands on. I thought I did, but I don't. And so you can go take your company public, and we're gonna do it just because, so I can show you. And then you have you can do splits, and you can create other marquees, and it'll show you everything you bought and you held, and you can do restructuring and all kinds of things there. And then the teddy bear, it's just your favorite teddy. And the handgun is for when you kind of just are done with the game in the end. You just want to make it stop. Let's go into the research and development tab. And we're going to go and design. I'll just design a car quickly. I actually start with the engine first. So we'll do it's 1970, we'll do a big V8. Gasoline, single carb, get some better fuel mileage. I valves, which also known as overhead valves, naturally aspirated. You just go through, open up all the tabs. And so you can actually change your bore and stroke here. So I can go 92 in the bore, 107 on the stroke. And we have a 5.7 liter V8. So change the length and width of it. The wider it is, the cheaper it is, but also it takes up more width. And it's going to be heavier. You can also go with weight. So the heavier an engine is, see here, the heavier the engine is, the less expensive it costs. Whereas if you want to design a lighter, probably more high performance based engine, it's going to cost more money. Particularly in project cost. If you look at the project cost down here, it's $6 million to develop this engine right now. Lightweight, knocks off 80 pounds and cost me $2 million. These tabs in these sliders in their extremis can add up cost exponentially. I normally knock down performance on engine design and then use torque and RPMs to do things that I want to do here. So we're going to do 300 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque, knock down the material qualities. That's going to knock this down a little bit, but also engine only costs $1,500 to produce for me. That's fine. And then secondly, I go with a chassis. And we're going to do the perimeter frame. I don't know, front engine, rear wheel drive. We'll do Pearson struts up front, and then semi-trailing arm in the back with drums. It's a very cheap way to do things here. Go to 123-inch length. Around 62 to 65 inches in width is kind of your standard American width. Most cars are about that wide. I'm just kind of going through here, nothing, just kind of showing off the game. If it were development pace, I do need that within 11 months though. Okay, so make sure it fits. It fits. Do that. Go here to gearbox. Doing automatic because why not? 3-speed automatic. So what this does is this is vehicle estimation. So I can actually click on all three of these things and then view the prototype design. And it'll tell me that if I do all of these things with this transmission, it will have 301 horsepower, 275 pound-feet of torque. You get 18.4 miles per gallon, do 131 miles an hour, 0 to 60 in 11 seconds. For 1970, that's not too bad. You know, and it's not true to life, per se. But you go over here, end your turn. Go up to 11 months because that's how long it's going to take. And I'm skipping some of the steps that I normally do just to kind of get this vehicle turned out. In this loading screens for each month. You can see down here we have 4 of them remaining. Load times in this game have improved considerably. Like, they used to take quite a while to complete a turn, because it's simulating, in this case, 300 other companies as well in their vehicles. So you can see here, sorry, you can see here that my research is complete. These are the 3 things that I had. There's also new contract requests. There's racing series that I can do. So now that the car is done, or the basics of the car is done, we'll go over here, we'll make it a full-size sedan, select our chassis, our engine, and our gearbox, hit OK, go to a pre-designed car. Sure, that's good in that awful shade of green. But all these fixtures here can all be added on there. They don't actually do anything. The fixtures don't, the tires don't, but the shape of the car does. It falls into the drag coefficient, which, you know, in turn is going to affect top speed as well as your miles per gallon. So we're just going to go ahead and select that. Go with the lower quality stuff here just because it's going to be a cheap car, hopefully. Aero focus is actually pretty important. Development pace, I'm going to develop it as fast as possible. Make it male, 25 or less, let's say middle class. And these things will all tell you, well, this is important. You know, luxury is important, you should have 3.5 stars. Safety is important, you should have 3.5 stars. You know, and it has things for all of these tabs. Whatever, I don't really care about any of this right now, so go ahead and build it. It's going to take 7 months. I'm going to call it the lab. A lot of clicking. It is kind of a clicking simulator. You know, and this car that I've developed is not, I haven't specifically targeted it well. I haven't marketed it well. Like, it's not gonna do, it'll do good because it will. I'm playing on one of the easier difficulties for this. But anyway, the car is developed. You see here, research complete for the Good Shot Gaming Lab. Okay, so go over here. I only have one branch at the moment, Detroit, which you start off with wherever your factory is. I'm going to put all 5 production lines, and production speed's going to be as high as it goes. We can sell as many as 1,241 of these. We will build this month 1,240 of them. And then we go to branches, and estimated sales price is $6,000. Just go ahead and apply it. And here you can see all the other cars that are for sale in this segment at this branch. So I actually have one of the cheaper cars. So go ahead and end this turn, and then we can see how well it sold here. If I sold 1,200, I'd be kind of impressed. They normally need more than one branch. I sold 571 of them. You know, I actually turn a profit too. So now that the car is built, all of that is done. We can go over here to vehicle reviews. We can actually see, here's my car, and it will tell me that it is, you know, they brought it out expecting the worst, and they were surprised. It isn't the fastest full-size sedan, but it certainly is as good as most full-size sedans out on the market today. We thought the 301 horsepower V8, good fit for this model. We were able to top out at 132 miles an hour, and on the strip we did 9.465, 0 to 60 miles an hour. Found that the torque was enough to tow an impressive 7,000 pounds, and it's not perfect on the track. We wished all the roads in the world were straight. They're not. You know, it doesn't handle well. Interior was below average. It had plenty of space for the typical consumer, better than average for this type of vehicle. That was extremely unreliable. It's not disposable, and that's what makes it worse. Doesn't have best-in-class mileage, but you know, it's above average. Bare minimum amount of safety. It's one of those cars you would never buy new. In fact, it's the type of full-size sedan you should try to avoid used. Only the down and out or the young will ever drive one of these, preferably used. So they usually give you a funny little review. That's actually one of the worst ones I've gotten, but I think that's kind of a fun little toy. But yeah, anyway, this is GearCity. I'm not gonna get into the racing tab because I have no race cars to show you, and there's not a lot to see there anyway, in my opinion. It's always been kind of a side little game per se. But yeah, no, GearCity. If you're into cars, I'd suggest checking it out. If you like, you know, financial kind of games, I think you might find some enjoyment in it. And yeah, thanks for watching this, guys. I'll catch you next time.